To everyone reading this, thank you for trusting me with your time and emotions. Your attention means more than you know, and I promise this story will grip you, twist you, and linger long after the last word. The night I realized everything had changed began with laughter, her laughter, echoing in our otherwise quiet penthouse. It was light, teasing, the kind that once made my heart flutter. But tonight it struck me differently, sharp and alien, slicing through the fabric of my comfort. She tossed her champagne glass on the counter, smirking at me. Honestly, that prenup of yours is hilarious. Do you really think I'd ever let a piece of paper dictate our marriage? I forced a laugh, but it felt hollow. I had always loved her confidence, the way she carried herself like the world bent to her will. But now, something about that defiance gnawed at me. I remembered the clause she had brushed off at our wedding, the one she claimed was ridiculous. The clause that allowed me full control over our finances if she ever knowingly betrayed my trust. Weeks passed, but her laughter didn't fade. It lingered in the corners of our home. In the back of my mind. I noticed the little things first. Late-night texts she quickly closed when I entered the room. The faint perfume that wasn't mine. The whispered names that didn't belong. I tried to convince myself I was imagining it. Denial was easier than facing a truth I wasn't ready to accept. One rainy Thursday, I returned home early, intent on surprising her with a homemade dinner. The apartment was dark, the blinds drawn. As I stepped into the living room, I froze. Shadows shifted against the walls. Her phone vibrated on the couch. Curiosity, or maybe dread, propelled me to glance at the screen. Messages flashed before I could retreat. Intimate words, dates, secret meetings. Betrayal didn't have the courtesy of subtlety. My heart hammered. Each beat a drum of disbelief. I confronted her immediately. What is this? My voice cracked, a mix of rage and heartbreak. She looked at me, eyes wide, not with guilt, but with the audacity that had once charmed me. It's nothing. You're reading too much into it, she said, too casually, like a child denying a broken vase. But the damage was done. That night, sleep eluded me. I walked the apartment, tracing the moments of our life together. The photos, the furniture, the memories, and every piece now felt tainted, like a canvas smeared with ink. I realized love wasn't enough to shield me from betrayal. Over the next few days, I became meticulous, collecting evidence, tracking patterns, confirming truths I wished I could unsee. The woman I had loved, the one I had trusted implicitly, was living a double life. She had mocked the prenup, yes, but she had never considered the clause she'd scorned. The clause that protected me if she intentionally deceived me. I didn't tell her what I knew. Instead, I acted. Quietly, deliberately, I enforced the clause. She would not have the satisfaction of denying me or twisting reality to her favor. The assets, the control, the power. Everything was mine now, just as the document had promised. I didn't do it out of spite alone. I did it because betrayal demanded recognition. It required justice, however coldly served. When she realized, the fury in her eyes was almost beautiful in its intensity. You're insane. You can't do this. I looked at her calmly. The man she had laughed at now seated like a judge passing verdict. I can and I did. You made your choices. She screamed, she cried, she tried to bargain. But the clause was unyielding, a legal embodiment of every ignored warning, every dismissed boundary. And for the first time I felt a grim satisfaction. Not happiness, not joy, just clarity. Clarity that I was no longer a victim. Even as she left, slamming doors and fracturing the silence, I felt the weight of what we had lost. Marriage was more than promises. It was trust, and ours had been fractured beyond repair. Yet in enforcing the clause, I found a bitter, necessary closure. I hadn't betrayed her in return. I had simply honored the terms we had once agreed upon. Weeks later, I walked through the apartment, now quiet but alive with memories. Every item was a reminder of love tainted by deceit. And yet, I could breathe without the suffocating weight of uncertainty. Pain still lingered, but so did perspective. Love had not failed me entirely. It had taught me caution, respect, and the hard limits of forgiveness. In the end, I didn't celebrate her loss. I mourned the person she had been, the laughter, the warmth, the life we had imagined. And as I stood by the window, watching the sun spill across the skyline, I realized something essential. Betrayal, no matter how devastating, can also reveal strength, clarity, and an unshakable sense of self. Some nights, when the city is quiet and the wind whispers past my window, I think of her. I imagine the life she chose, the moments she sacrificed for fleeting pleasure, and I wonder if she ever felt the gravity of what she had done. But I know now that my life, my choices, and my peace are mine to protect. And sometimes, letting the law enforce what love failed to preserve is the truest form of justice. I learned, painfully, that love without trust is not love at all. And I also learned that boundaries, even those we mock, exist for a reason. Sometimes, enforcing them is the only way to reclaim your life from the shadow of betrayal.